a guy that we trained with, me and me and Aaron went out and we spent I think a little over a week with this gentleman. The training was called the Billionaire in Training. And Eagle, he said to me, he said, "Hey, we're gonna build a billion dollar blueprint, which I still have in my mind as the plan." And he said, "But if you get to like 500 million or 700 million, you probably won't be mad at me." I said, I told him I might be a little mad at him, but that was just being silly. I'm not going to be mad at him at all. I would like to know, to start off, I do have a video I'll play this morning. It's a 6-minute video by Charlie Munger, which is pretty insightful about wealth. So I want to know from you, what changed in you yesterday? Type in the chat bar. And I see some of you. Hey, Chris and Art, nice to see you there. Anthony Foster, nice to see you. McKenna. I did. Any of you who missed The Economist? Put a question mark if you missed it. Like you didn't get to hear. Okay, Jeff. All right. A bunch of you. I would make sure, it takes us a day or so to edit it. I probably would send in, and yeah, those of you that found it extremely insightful, what would you say about that in the chat bar? If you missed it, I would ask Megan and Morgan, can you send it to us? Send it to you as soon as you can. And the other thing I would do if I was you is I would watch it first. I believe you should play that for your whole company. What do you guys think? I would play it for your whole company. I would have my whole company meeting and I would play that, and I would destroy everything that they're hearing in the news. I would destroy everything they're hearing in the news, which will just empower them to play more full out for you. So let's rewind. If we were to rewind to Tuesday morning before Wealth Power started, and you looked at who you were when you showed up Tuesday morning, and you look at who you are this morning, tell me, who were you? Who are you now? And don't try to wordsmith me. I'm not impressed by wordsmithing. I'm only impressed by what the heck did you feel like on Tuesday? Who have you become on Thursday? Unsure to certain. Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Who else? And those of you not on camera, if you could jump on camera when you can, it would be helpful. Anxious, now focused and forging. Love it. Eyes wide open to the future. Yeah. How many of you had relationships on? So you partners were on and heard it together, or partners, because I'm always love when I see some of you, Aaron and Jason, and couples that are on here, and we had Stephen and Gina on. I don't know if Gina's on yet this morning. What kind of couples conversations have you had the last couple days? Tell me that in the chat bar. And if your couple wasn't on, well, what kind of conversation are you thinking of having, or did you already have, if they're not that they weren't here? So let's see what we got here. So school last night, we didn't get to talk. Okay, so you'll talk maybe over the weekend. I think I see my wife is more excited than ever. Well, I got to imagine that's always a good thing, right? It's hope of a future that maybe you didn't know was possible, or you couldn't see the path ahead, and now you see the path ahead for the future. Specific clarity. Yep. Didn't get to talk much. Okay, homeschooling's good. Well, you might want to throw that video into the homeschooling agenda there. That would probably be worthy, even if they don't understand. Think about people as if they don't understand now. It just means they didn't understand yet, but they understood something, even if it was one word. I thought one of the biggest things from Jim was, Was he a master communicator or what? Tell me in the chat bar. Was he a master communicator? I mean, if you just want to look at someone that can clearly communicate, that had a world of lessons right in itself. That had a world of lessons in itself. So let's break it down, wealth power, for a couple minutes. How is wealth power now affected as we go into day three? How is it going to affect your business? Tell me in the chat bar. How's it going to affect your business? Are you going to be bolder? Are you going to make a different decision? Are you going to hire someone? Are you going to fire someone? Are you going to double down on marketing? Tell me in the chat bar. Okay, fucking fearless. Love that. Conversations that are real and raw. What else are you going to do in business now? More clarity, more speed. Gonna need to hold me back again, ready to run. Okay. What else do you guys? How did these couple days, and we got a full day today. I got a lot to teach you today, a lot that we have to get through. Okay, being a strong leader to the team. Yeah. Strengthening and adding. How many of you maybe feel how about this? How about this question? What is wealth power doing for your relationship? Let's go to relationship. Is it creating alignment? Is it creating hope in the future? Does financial peace seem possible now? So type that in the chat bar. And I love your participation already this morning. So it started to help, Stephen, that book, which is great. But what about now? What's happening now? More. That's a start. What's the next level, right? Clarity, alignment. All right. What about for your health? How has wealth power affected your health? Tell me that in the chat bar. Sit there a minute. I mean, do you feel healthier when your mind is clearer? Okay, we were really aligned with our convos last night. We always were, but last night was really cool. Okay, yeah, I think you want to be more cool than less cool. We got yes, relaxed, aligned with relationship values, very healthy and light. None of this operates in silos. That's right. What did it bring up for your children? Hey, Aaron Watts, good morning. Hey, Chris Porton, nice to see you. So what did it bring up for you for your children? Is there something you want? I would think if you have adult children, you would want to, and you have permission, share. I don't want you throwing that Economist video. Those of you that are in our world, I don't want you throwing it all over Facebook. That won't be appropriate, but it would be to let your children watch it. What else do you think about your children? Okay, Alan says Justin. Yeah, I think parents should stop having financial. How many of you had parents that hid their financial struggles from you? You know, you knew it was there because they said they didn't own a money tree. And do you think I own the utility company? But how many of them, like, really, they hid it from you, right? Yeah, parents never talked about money. Not hidden, but it wasn't something we talked about. Yeah. So maybe I remember Aaron Watson. I don't know if you did this already. Um, I call it the profit first system before I heard Mike Michalowicz talk about profit first. We bought this. I don't even know where. I don't even know where the hell we got it, but I'm sure my son remembers it. It was multiple colored plastic Velcro envelopes, and one was for they could spend money, and one was for saving for something, and one was there was like five envelopes. And our kids would take a certain amount of money. Michael, type in the chat bar if you remember that, and they would put it in each envelope to learn how to allocate money. And he was probably maybe 7 years old, maybe 8 years old when we started that. So they learn how to bucket it. So those of you that have young kids and you're just shoving it, oh, I don't know if it's Dave Ramsey approach or not. I know of him. I've never studied him, But that's really good. So how many of you now, if you have grandkids, well, you should ask the parents' permission, because the worst thing you could do is try to parent your grandkids, right? Like let the parents parent the kids and you be good grandparents. I'm not a grandparent yet for quite a while probably, but let them do the parenting and you just, you do the grandparenting. Otherwise, you could end up in some fights with, I'm guessing, I've watched that throughout the years, fight with your children. But maybe ask them, could you give them the envelopes, right? It's a whole, who's ever read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Anybody read that book? Yeah. I remember Rich Dad Poor Dad, listening to it and listening to it on a Walkman where you put a CD in it, because I used to go to bed listening to things so I could train my mind while I was sleeping. And then I would drop the headphones on the side. And I don't know how old Michael was. So a lot of you, when you're doing a call with Michael and you think he's only 26, well, he has, you know, 50 plus years of education and training in a 26-year-old mind and body. Because one morning I woke up and I looked over the bed. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, listening. And he was listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know what he was understanding at the time, but he didn't wake us up, me and my wife up, and he was listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I think some of this might be helpful for you, because don't you want your children to have greater wealth on all levels, greater than you, greater relationship wealth, greater health wealth, greater financial wealth? How many of you just, if you could just give your kids one thing, you want to give them the education of that? Tell me in the chat bar, right? And so I used to, when I would drive my kids places, I would say to them, hey, we'll split the time. Part of the time, it's an audio on back then it was CD. So we're going to listen to something on CD. Part of the time, you tell me what you want to listen to. And I can't tell you, I don't know if they bitched little sometimes, but not enough for me to pay attention to it. I wanted to make sure that they knew their dad and mom were listening. We were training to improve our life, because you just want to be better. I think if you could summarize wealth power into a simple sentence, it would be, be better holistically tomorrow than you are today. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat bar. Just be a little better tomorrow. And what is better? I'm still watching. Anybody still like, hopefully I'm not pointing anybody out, but are any of you just exhausted of drama? Are you? Some of you are so still this morning. I can't even tell if you're breathing. Yeah, you're tired of drama. You're just tired of someone complaining. And yeah, Robin, thumbs up. And Robin, do you sometimes want to just turn around? And we're streaming this somewhere. I don't know where, so they might it might knock me off now, but that's okay. Hey, do you ever feel like just going like this? Bam! Shut the F up already. Right? Shut up. Okay, so your ass hurts and your arm hurts and the bill came in and the roof is bad. Shut up. Shut up. You have every opportunity that the rest of the world has. And do you know anybody that's just complaining more? Instead of, if they just stop for 30 seconds, they would actually stop what they're complaining about? Am I talking out of hand here, or no? Now, I'm not promoting violence of smacking people, so please don't do that unless they give you permission. Then do it all you can, I guess. I'm not telling you to talk nasty to people. I'm just telling you what runs through my mind sometime when I hear people saying this. And on the flip side, I say to myself, like, how many people do you love that died that would love the moment just to have an opportunity in this moment now, right? But they're not here because you love them and they're dead. And I just think about that all the time. Some people go, that's a morbid thought. I say it's a very motivating thought, a very motivating thought, right? And some people need to think like, what if there was only, if you say to yourself, if there was only a year left, what would you do? What should you end up doing? You should do that right now. And you don't know how long you got, so you might as well, if you're going to build a business and build a life, you might as well be brave and do it to the very best you can until you can't do it no more. What do you guys think about that? Tell me in the chat bar, right? And I like, so let me talk about it because uh, remind me, Jen wanted to share something, so I'm gonna let Jen share, but remind me about compounding results. Jen, you wanted to share something?
I just want to backtrack a little bit because you were talking about kids and wealth and what our kids were exposed to, what they heard. And you talked a little bit about like letting them hear, all aspects of it. However, also be mindful, kids up until they're about 6 to 8, everything in their world, the way their brain develops, is literal. So if they start hearing, money is the root of all evil. I don't know. Think of all those things around money that created things that all of you perhaps are trying to unwind now and rewrite. You can actually help write the script for your kids to absorb what they're hearing now. So hearing the things from like Mike was saying, when Michael was listening to the thing, I'm sure he was hearing all great things about wealth and about money. So just keep that in mind with your kids. Even if they're older than 8, they're still gonna process it. Their unconscious minds, it's going to be a program running in their minds. So just be mindful of that as a parent. That could be a big impact of less they have to unwind later in life.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's give her a big fist pump, everyone. Three, two, one, boom. When she was saying that, there is a funny thing that happened many, many years ago. How many of you you feel like everything your kids, young kids want, you want to give it to them, but you never realize the only reason why you want to give them everything they want is because of your own childhood trauma. Type in trauma in the chat bar. Is that true? Oh yeah, I hung it up this morning, Cheryl. I wanted to say, yeah, childhood trauma. So you give your kids everything they want. So here's a great example, and we're just trying to lead by example. We're not saying it's right or wrong. We're just giving you ideas and suggestions. But our daughter wanted this backpack, and it was about I don't know, $500. It was one of these, I don't know, Jen, type in the name of the backpack, one of these
Gucci,
fancy, what was it called?
Gucci.
Oh, it was a Gucci backpack.
You call it coochie.
Yeah, the Coochie Mama backpack. And so we just turned around and said, "Yeah, of course we'll buy you a backpack. You need one. A really good backpack's about 85 bucks. You could use the 85 bucks and take your own money and buy the Coochie Mama backpack, or you could buy the $85 backpack. Well, pick the one you want for 85 bucks." Well, she chose the $85 one because there was a different lesson there. Now, when she grows up, and well, she is grown up now, she could go buy all the coochie stuff she wants, but now she's probably thinks a little bit different about it. The
We
other
also
lesson,
we also did that with the laptop. She wanted a specific laptop, and we said this is how much we're allotting for a laptop, and if you want that one, you pay the difference. And she did. The backpack, she didn't. She's like, nope. And there were other things along the way as well, and they were also a no. The only one she did end up spending more money on was the laptop because, see, understanding your kids' values, that was more valuable to her than those other items. She thought they were valuable until she had to use her own money for it.
yeah, and it sounds like we're talking about a kid lesson here. And really what we're talking about is some of you probably might need to consider taking on the same lesson yourself. Um, I want to know if you guys could give me feedback real quick. We tested out on this training for 2 of the days. We did a bonus training in the morning from 9:30 to 10. How has the bonus training been? Should we do more of that in the future? Should we do less of it? We do listen to everything you guys say. We'll give a survey out the end of the day. So let's see. Pure awesome. Bonus has been perfect. Love it. Um, awesome. Do more of it. What else we got here? Bonus sessions are great. Value. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Those of you that made it, I love the bonus session. All right. I also love quotes by Michael. So hard to say. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you for that feedback, everybody. Because at the end of tonight, when we're done with all of you, and I already started asking the team today, what did they think about it? And I hope that you see who's done Wealth Power, which was called Unlocking the Wealth Code, which we've done almost every year for the last 5 years. Who has done it in the past? And would you agree that this one's very different once again? Tell me in the chat bar. And thank you for helping me with this. I have. This is different. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Art. Me and yes. Thank you, Jason Kirby. Yeah. All right. Good. Are we improving? Evolve. Thank you, Dave Monk. Dave Monk's been in my world for a very, very long time. So I take that as very high insight for me. So thank you for that, Dave. Let's talk about compounding a minute before we watch this video. I think when you look at compounding, this is my latest theory of compounding. I just believe if you could wake up and push one domino, just one domino, and that one domino would knock down 20, 30, 50 dominoes at one time. And those 50 dominoes would knock down another 50 dominoes at one time. And then those 50. So one of my theories about wealth that's helped me create it, and I say create it, I'm not done by no means. I'm just having way more fun at it than ever before. Because in the beginning, it's a task. When you get there, you kind of arrived, but then you want to prove what's possible, right? It's like the 7-minute mile. You just want to break that. And it becomes fun to do it. And when things are not like it's not, you don't have to do it and you do it for different reasons, it does become extremely enjoyable. I would ask you, everything you do today, ask yourself, how many compounding dominoes did it knock over, right? So I'll give you an example. If you're a business owner, and why don't all of you just type in what type of business you do anyway? Type in, I'm in a, and don't give us the big fancy, I don't need the fancy name. Tell me, there you go, mattress retail. That's what I was looking for, Ben. Give me the simple. Later you could say longevity and keep people from dying early and shit. Yeah, okay. So if you look at all of these industries here, which is pretty, those of you that have been in my world a long time, when you look at how many industries we're serving now, what kind of word would you type in the chat bar? Dave Monk, people, Robin, people that have been in my world a long time. When you look at like over 120 different industries, I believe it's what's made us so powerful, and way more powerful over the last 5 years than anything I've ever done before, is how many industries. But let's say you go to your business. If you deliver a message of how to improve to one employee, how many dominoes did you knock over? Tell me in the chat bar. You knocked over one domino. But if you were going to deliver one thing to one employee, and instead of going to one, you invited 5 to hear the same message, how many dominoes did you knock over? 5. If you did the message and you recorded it and you sent it to all your team, how many dominoes would you knock over? Hundreds. It could be hundreds. Now, for you guys, your goal is to say one thing and have it knock down as many dominoes as possible. Now, AI is not quite there yet, 100%, but it's getting there. It's getting there quicker. A lot of people are right now doing task to task. Let's call it like idea to only one small wealth mechanism. So you go to ChatGPT and you ask it a question. So it's task to info back. But the next generation for you guys to compound wealth is task in, info back, info to many. Are you tracking with me? Are you tracking with me? So if Kathy, I hope you're not sick at all. Are you sick? You better not be, Kathy. Okay. Yeah, you? No? Ah, Kathy. All right. It's all in your mind. Um, but for Kathy, instead of every time she coaches one athlete, my only thing I would be thinking for Kathy is how do I take the one coaching lesson now and how do I get it to as many of them? Because just like you guys here, if I was just teaching this training to one of you, you would go a little further, but you won't go as far as all of you. So with that being said, write down or grab a 1 million or $100,000 sheet or 10,000 sheet and write down, I will start to use the domino theory. The domino theory. And once you train your brain, and maybe once you're on today with Jimmy and type in, how has Jimmy been for you? Have you slept different? Are you thinking different? Did you show up different? Did any of you try to go find your shit you got rid of? I don't know why people try to go do that. They get rid of something and like they get rid of a trauma and then they go searching for it. Like they want to confirm it's gone. Just let's assume it's gone. Don't go searching for the garbage you threw in the garbage can. It doesn't make any sense. Vivid dreams. Okay. So maybe when we end day 3 of Wealth Power and we do the mind programming session, maybe you sit in there and you write a note on your pad. Remember to do the domino process in there because your brain is the ultimate domino flipping tool. It's the one that's telling you what makes sense and what doesn't make sense based on your reality, and your reality is only off of everything programmed. Now, if you were able to get one action and 5 dominoes flipped, your best hopes are that you could get your team, Jim, to flip 1 domino at a time. That's the best. But if you could get yourself to flip 10 dominoes, you might actually be able to teach your team to flip 3 dominoes. That's why if you saw my post the other day, like you'll never solve a big problem that you couldn't solve by hiring somebody to solve it. You'll never, like, hiring an employee to solve because you haven't been able to hold people accountable. They won't, because you can only hire at the skill set you have. Does that make sense? You'll never hire above your skill set because you won't understand them enough to hire them. So that happens all the time. So if you could look at how can I get everybody to start flipping multiple dominoes at one time, everything will compound. Thank you for putting that team in the chat bar there. All right, let's watch a video. Now this video, well, I won't have to tell you, Warren Buffett's partner, Charlie Munger is very smart. But I've picked every one of these videos myself because I knew it had a message at the time you're going to hear it, at the sequence of the days. And this one has a lot of very important things that I want you to hear. It's about 6 minutes. I'm going to play it. And then what I'd like you to do is every time you hear him say something, that you're like, Mike wanted me to hear that. I want you to type it in the chat bar. Can we agree? Type in, I agree. Will you just focus for 6 minutes to change your life a little more? Okay. All right. Let me bring it up here. And then team, you let me know, team, that the volume is good. And let's, everybody just type in the chat bar so I know you're focused. Why don't you just type in the chat bar, hey, Charlie, like he could hear us right now. Go ahead, type in the chat bar. Hey, Charlie.
In my life, to give another example, the Mungers would have twice the assets they now have if I hadn't made one mistake of omission back in the 1970s. And really stupid. And I blew an opportunity that would have doubled my present net worth.
Oh, sorry about that.
That is a normal life. You get one or two. And how things work out, it's the basis. We all know people that are out married. I mean, their spouses are so much better. Think what a good decision that was for them. And what a lucky decision. Way more important than money. And a lot of them did it when they were young, just they stumbled into it. Now, you don't have to stumble into it. You can be very careful. A lot of people are wearing signs, danger, danger, do not touch, and people just charge right ahead. That's a mistake. Well, you can laugh, but it's still a horrible mistake. I can tell a couple of other stories too, because you like stories. Here's an apocryphal story that is very instructive. A young man comes to visit Mozart. And he says, Mozart, he says, I want to write symphonies. And Mozart says, how old are you? And the man says, I'm 23. And Mozart says, you're too young to write symphonies. And he says, but Mozart, he says, you were writing symphonies when you were 10 years old. And Mozart says, yes, but I wasn't asking other people how to do it. Now there's another Mozart story. Here's the greatest musical talent maybe that ever lived. And what was his life like? Well, he was bitterly unhappy and he died young. That's the life of Mozart. What the hell did Mozart do to screw it up? To make himself, well, he did two things that are guaranteed to create a lot of misery. He overspent his income scrupulously. That's number one. That is really stupid. And the other thing was he was full of jealousies and resentments. If you'll overspend your income and be full of jealousy and resentments, you can have a lousy, unhappy life and die young. All you've got to do is learn from Mozart. You can also learn from that young man who was asking Mozart how to write symphony. The truth of the matter is that not everybody can learn everything. Some people are way the hell better. And of course, no matter how hard you try, there's always some guy that achieves more, some guy or gal. And my answer is, so what? Does any of us need to be the very top of the whole world? It's ridiculous. Another thing that people do that I regard as amazing is they build these enormous mausoleums. I think they figure they want people to walk by that mausoleum and say, gosh, I wish I were in there. Anyway, you can see we've had some fun as we go along, and it's worked so well. But if you actually figure out how many decisions were made in the history of the Daily Journal Corporation or the history of Berkshire Hathaway, it wasn't very many per year that were meaningful. It's a game of being there all the time and recognizing the rare opportunity when it comes, and recognizing that a normal human allotment is to not have very many. Now, there's a very confident bunch of people who sell securities who act as though they've got an endless supply of wonderful opportunities. Those people are the equivalent of the racetrack tout. They're not even respectable. It's not a good way to live your life, to pretend to know a lot of stuff you don't know and pretend to furnish you a lot of opportunities you're not furnishing. And my advice to you is avoid those people, but not if you're running a stock brokerage firm. You need them. But it's not the right way to make money. And this business of controlling the costs and living simply, and that was the secret. How much money? Warren and I had tiny little bits of money. We always underspent our incomes, and we invested, and well, you know, if you live long enough, you end up rich. It's not very complicated. Now, there is a part of life which is, how do you scramble out of your mistakes without them costing too much? And we've done some of that too. And if you look at Berkshire Hathaway, think of its founding businesses: a doomed department store, a doomed New England textile company, and a doomed trading stamp company. Out of that came Berkshire Hathaway. Now, we handled those losing hands pretty well when we bought into them very cheaply. But of course, the success came from changing our ways and getting into the better businesses. And it isn't that we were so good at doing things that were difficult. We were good at avoiding things that were difficult, finding things that are easy. By the way, when we bought the Daily Journal, that was easy. What we're doing now in this software business is difficult. But due to the accident of these good associations and the fact that these old colleagues have lived so long, we're doing pretty well in the new business. It has potential. And it's fun to do. And how many declining newspapers have hundreds of millions of marketable securities lying around and a new business with some promise? We're like the last of the Mohicans.
All right, type in the chat bar there. What did you take away from that right there? What did you take away from that? Let me go look at what you guys are saying here. Okay, avoid difficult, buy the easy stuff. Yeah. Okay, avoid the difficult. Yeah, so let me give you guys a big lesson that I heard from that. And it really resonated to some decisions that I wish I wish, Kathy, I listened way sooner of it. So I started to ask if I had to prove out the value of every action item, what would happen if I couldn't prove it? Let me give you an example. In the beginning, when I was running Gold Medal, and I started to, I was picking up all these ideas that sounded brilliant in a moment, but I didn't track it. It wasn't I couldn't track it to prove it out. So I thought this great idea of I have to take a picture, David, of every employee. I have to get a bio of every employee. I have to send it, email it out. And it was a big action item to do. It was a big action item, probably faster today with AI, but it was still, you had to maintain it and stuff. And then I just said to myself, like, first, do people even open that email? And what do you think I found out about it? What do you think I found out? They never opened it early enough anyway. They never opened it up anyway. The second thing I said was, can I prove that conversion rate, the buying goes up? And Matt Pilius, I couldn't prove it went up. It didn't go up at all. So conversion rate didn't go up at all. People didn't open the emails. And then I would ask customers, do you care who's coming to your house? And the customer said, no, I trust you. So I just had him start saying on the phone, we're going to send you another one of our amazing service experts. They're trained, they're experts, they're background checked, they're certified, and that's all you need to do. And tell me, for some of you, that might seem like a minor little action. But for me, everything you removed out of, everything you move out of that you're doing that's not making a big difference opens up a space for you to focus on exactly what is. Are you tracking with me? Everything that, because I was such addicted to shiny object things. That's why when I look at these things where people tell me in different companies, they say, oh, I record my conversations when people go in houses. I said, well, it's a shame you suck at leadership. Because if you were good at leadership, why the fuck do you have to record people when they're in houses? Why do you got to do it? You would just be good. A good leader would train people in a good way, and it would get a good result, and you would trust your team, right? So I want you to just write a note down and put it on either at least 1 million, because I do think it will be that over, if not a couple of years, your lifetime. I'd write down, what are all the things I haven't proved to make a difference? It's funny, my wife and I walked by a white van today. I think it was called 4-Point HVAC. It was a white van with a couple blue letters on it. And my wife said, Look at how much that van stands out because it's white and nobody's used to white no more. It used to be everybody was white and then we went to color. Now white's like stands out, right? And so if you were to write one thing in the chat bar before we dig into the workbook here, what is something you're doing that sounded fancy at the time, but you wonder if it's worth it now? Type it in the chat bar. Is it worth it now? Now, I think if you wrote certain companies, no matter if you're managing mattresses or, I think managing material makes sense at the most efficient way possible. I shared with a lot of people, everything I did 5 years ago, you shouldn't do it unless I tell you it's relevant. Because 90% of what I did 5 years ago it doesn't make sense. I had big fancy folders with lots of shit in it. It doesn't make sense today. It's too costly. It's not consumed enough. It's not delivered in the best way. People changed and people changed, but business owners didn't change the process. They're still doing things the way that some of it I taught 5 or 10 years ago. That makes no logical sense to me at all because everything changed, especially after COVID. Everything changed completely, even how people think. So I think if you could look at this, and ask yourself, what am I doing that really is not making a difference? And everything you're not tracking, write this down. Everything I'm not tracking, I have to assume it's wasted energy and time. Everything I'm not tracking, I have to assume that it's wasted energy and time. Now, if we go back to the compounding effect of things, the one domino to the many, I watch some of you work out in the gym and get nothing else done but a little bit of muscles. And I don't understand that because I love it if you go to the gym, but I want every minute on the treadmill to make you $1 or $1,000 or $100,000 because while you're on the treadmill, you're coaching somebody on your team, you're recording a video for a client, you're closing a deal, you're communicating with somebody, you're delivering a message. But instead, people get on the treadmill, and if I said quantify the time, they would say, well, my age decreased by a year. And I go, well, that's magnificent. That's good. How did your wealth increase? And they go, no, but wouldn't it be cool if your age decreased, right? You're 50, but your age says you're 45, and then your wealth compounded by every second you were on the elliptical, or every second you were in doing yoga, or every second you were walking. I know every walk with my wife, it's $1 million walk because we're solidifying $1 million things. We're making $1 million decisions, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. What do we want to build next? What don't we want to build? Who might we say yes to a business deal in the future? Who won't we? And then I bring that. So it's kind of like meeting with Jen in the morning and a couple of times a day. And then I review it with Aaron. And then as owners, we go, do we want to invest in that business? No. Would we like to own that business? No. Would we like to add that to the portfolio? No. Oh shit, that one? Yes. What are you getting from me? Tell me in the chat bar, please. Tell me in the chat bar. What are you getting from me? Habit stacking, right? Optimize everything. Work on compounding wealth. Yeah. All right, you guys are getting it there. You're getting it. So the more simplistic, the more you compound every action you do, the more you quantify everything you're doing. Now, this year, I look at this training as like a super quantifier. You know why? This is like it's pulling back the bow. And as you pull back the bow, it's eliminating things that don't help you, thoughts that don't help you, actions that don't help you. And then at the end of the training, you get a decision. Implementation, let's go with the bow and arrow. And then it flies as fast as your ability to participate and have the breakthroughs and actions that you needed. And then the bow will fly past there. I think, did I see, oh, Lil's on. Happy birthday, Lil. And Alan, happy birthday to you. I can't believe how many birthdays we have today. We have Lil's, we have Alan's, we have Andrew Williams. I didn't see Andrew Williams. We have Jimmy. birthday today. Clearly, I should mark it and just look for people born today. That would make my life easy. Clearly, a lot of great people. And then there's one more person I'm missing. Maybe the team will say it. Or if it's also your birthday and we don't know, put in the chat bar. But happy birthday. Wish you many more healthy, happy birthdays to come, guys. Yours tomorrow? Okay, Max, that counts. I'm adding your day into good people I should find too. Okay, let's go to the workbook, please. Meet me on page 35. And if you're ready to double down today till we're done, like just double down and let your brain like a sponge pull it in, type in the chat bar, double down. Type in the chat bar, double down. Okay. Let me find you guys and get you guys. Okay, we got a lot of double down here. All right, let's do it. Aaron didn't even want to write the whole words. You guys that's how efficient you guys are now. It's like the episode of Office where the guy only says he keeps words because he thinks it's faster. That probably was faster though. Okay, now you want Duncan. All right, meet me on page 36 here. And if we look at some of the pillars of wealth here, we have one thing, which is connection, right? Connection. And the first connection to wealth is always connecting to yourself, right? That's always the first connection to wealth. Like some of you are not connected at the highest level to yourself, but as you connect to yourself, you then can go to the next one, which is implementation, right? Implementation. So we have to connect to ourselves, connect to the info, connect to the wisdom, and then we have to go for implementation. How do we get it in place? Now, if we put things in place and we see results, a lot of times we'll get transformation, right? We'll get transformation. We'll change. And with transformation, you'll end up a lot of times with freedom. You'll have more time, not less time. And then when you have freedom, you'll get to one of my favorite words, which is mastery. Mastery is being better tomorrow than you are today by design, right? That's what mastery is. And then when you focus on mastery enough, you'll then get to legacy. Everybody that we work with on a higher level to try to get them, make sure they could get to financial peace and wealth, major wealth, is we need to get them into mastery and not delusion. A lot of people don't go to like, I don't do and schedule meta ads. I don't put in information on it. I don't do software things and fun. But what I do is I have a mastery of knowledge of this so I can make sure everyone else is making the best and smartest moves. And then I could ask really, really big questions. I think I said it yesterday, but I'll say it again in case I said it different. Write down and be curious. Be really curious. As a CEO and leader that all of you are to your next biggest future, asking questions and curious questions is one of the, I say, greatest skill sets next to planning your night the night before. Because when you ask questions, your curiosity is filling gaps inside your mind. Your mind knows there's somewhere you want to go. It knows there's somewhere you've been. And curiosity is trying to find the next puzzle piece, right? Which today we have a great panel today with a bunch of people on it. We're going to do talk about exits and selling companies, and we're going to do the good, the bad, the indifferent, and everything in between. And who's excited to hear that? I think you all should be excited. So, but if you don't go through and you try to not connect, and some of you try to do legacy right away, well, it's harder to get to legacy if you don't get to freedom first, right? If you don't get to freedom first, and you got to have some mind space freedom. People try to get their freedom by escaping on a vacation. And the thing that I always hear is people go on vacation, then they come back and say, I need a vacation from my vacation. Vacations, you have to ask yourself, is the vacation, what's the purpose of it? If it's to have fun, I always say, well, how much fun are you having now on an everyday basis? And that should click for some of you. If you have to go to on vacation to have fun, you don't have a life by design. You have a life by default, and you think you're escaping for a moment. But what happens is you come back to regular. But and good point, Adrian. My goal was always to have you live a vacation style life, which doesn't mean traveling or whatever. It could. It just means that every moment you're excited about what you're doing. You're excited about your company. You're excited about your family. You're excited about the shitty stuff that's happening, because the shitty stuff is teaching you how to. Sometimes the shittiest stuff in my life has been the greatest value for somebody else when serving them, because I went through it. They can not go through it. So if you were to look at this, how many of you would say you need to improve the flow of this? Yes? Tell me in the chat bar. You need to improve the flow of this? All right. Thank you, Sydney. Now, how the wealthy think. So here's some great little insights here to this. So one, clarity, ultra clear about what they want. Now, I know you're getting clearer, but if you were to be transparent, 10 being so clear, you know where you want to go, when you want to get there, how it looks, how it smells, every aspect of it, who's on your team, the emotions you would have, where are you? And one being, Mike, I'm still trying to figure out where I'm at today. Okay, I think you guys are giving very honest answers. Your mind can only get to what it defined as possibility, okay? Your mind could only get to what it has defined as possibility. And the more you define it and then believe it's real. See, people for the last, I did a post today. I mean, it's over decades. I'm helping people for probably 4 decades, but in the world of helping predominantly business owners, it's probably a decade and a half or so. And what I noticed is the one key thing that almost all of them have is they're not clear enough. That's number one. A trap they have is they get too big, that they say it so others hear it, but it's not believable to them. They say, I'm gonna, in 2 years, I'm gonna have $100 million. But they're saying it because they want to believe it, but they don't truly believe it inside. You're better off going for a smaller milestone believable than a big milestone that's unbelievable to your mind. If you know it's believable, I'll give you an example. Well, not so much with gold medal. I mean, people say, how did you pick the name gold medal? I said, we had 3 names, and the accountant said that one's not taken. I don't think it was the best name. I don't know if anybody's name is the best name. I think names become best names because they get marketed and believable enough, and then it becomes a good name. I just had someone ask me the other day, they're opening up a business in another state, and they said, can we call it gold medal? I said, of course. As long as you want to get sued by the people that own it in the realms of a couple $1 million, absolutely, you should call it gold medal all you want. But I said that's about the stupidest decision you could ever make. What the heck is? Why would you even pick the name? You think because I made the name successful, it's the best name today? It's not the best fucking name today. I could jump in any market today and create a better name than gold medal 100 times over. Because the only way to create a name is by, intelligence, market intelligence, and then building a name that makes one truck look like 1,000. But if you don't get clear and then get everyone else clear around you, it gets harder to get there. Now, abundance, Abundance is seize opportunities, not challenges. And well, economies create lack of abundance because people watch everything that's happening, and their abundance filter is what they perceive as their biggest problem. Write that down, right? Their abundance filter is what they perceive as their biggest problem. So I don't have enough leads. So that's my abundance filter. But if you just said to yourself, there's this many millions of people that can buy your product, there's not a lack of leads, there's opportunity now to find them a different way, you'll start searching. It's hard, it's very hard to search from trauma. And trauma is sometimes marketing trauma, lead trauma. I got a lot of people that said, oh, I don't have enough leads. I said, well, what happened last year? Last year, I didn't have enough this time either. What happened the year before? I didn't have enough either. What happened the year before? I didn't have enough. Now, I'm not telling you something that I didn't do myself. After 10 years, I was like, wait a minute. If every year this time of year is slow, I think I'm slow, because it's not that there's not a solution. I just didn't think there was a solution. Now I know there's no such things as slow times, only slow marketing, only slow strategies. No such thing as slow times, only slow strategies. And if you peel it back further, let's do I think it's the Mitsubishi method, the 5 whys. It's like, why do you have no leads? Because people aren't buying on marketing. Okay, well, why are they not buying on marketing? And you go, well, because I'm not spending enough. Why are you not spending enough? Because I didn't catch it soon enough. Why didn't you catch it soon enough? Because I'm a shitty leader. Okay, good. Now you got reality. Be a better leader. Watch the numbers. Track the indicators. Which, for all of you that are business owners, wealth is nothing more than universal measurement. That's all wealth is. It's universal measurement. How much is in the bank? How much can I make more of it in the bank? How much don't I have in the bank? How do I make more to fill the bank? I don't have enough leads. I got to get, these are all numbered, tracked things. Want your health? You measure how far you run, how much you can lift, your breathing, your pulse rate, right? How much you sleep, how much you eat, calories in, calories burned. If you just understood that your greatest success is on the other side of understanding numbers of everything, you'll actually get excited about it instead of the trauma. Now, I don't know how to do algebra today. I don't know how to do trigonometry. I don't know if I could do fractions really well anymore. I might be able to figure it out, but I don't know enough about it anymore. I can write my name in script. I can't write sentences in script anymore, and I don't need to. What I need to know is, what am I tracking and what is it giving me? But if we go to this here, abundance, what if you looked at everything? The person you had to fire is always an opportunity, because you're never firing him. You're just gifting him to somewhere else in the world, right? What did that just wake up for some of you? Tell me. What did it wake up for some of you? What did it wake up for you? And Jason, I sent you a message about December 1st and 2nd. I'm going to meet with you guys when we go to lunch. I'm going to grab all you Alliance members real quick in a breakout room, because I might have the opportunity, because I guess after I told them kindly to go fuck themselves, they came back with a different opportunity. So if it's too late, but at least I'll talk to all you guys about what I was thinking. And if it's a possible, we'll do it. And if not, then we won't. Next one, drive, desire for more. I think we landed that plane well the other day, because complacency sucks, right? Complacency sucks. And it's not that it sucks, it's very dangerous, because when people tell me they're doing $1 million in business, and they're doing $1 million, $1 million, $1 million in business, and they tell me they're amazing, I tell them they're a liar, You're not amazing. Do you know just doing business amazing, a byproduct of that is the business scales? Do you know that? If you don't do things amazing, well, then people probably aren't telling others how amazing you are, so you don't grow. So if you could just say to yourself, wait a minute, I have to accept I may not be as amazing at the quality of service I deliver because people would be telling people. Now, expectation, believe it will come about, right? This is think and grow rich type, right? Believe it will come about. People would ask me, just like you, when did you know you would build it? The day I believed I could build it. That's it. The day I believed I could build it. When will you become wealthier? The day you believe you could become wealthier. How many of you type in the chat bar, are you sitting the way we talked about the other day? You're sitting the way someone with massive abundance would sit? Are your shoulders sitting that way or are you slumped over? Okay. So put in the chat bar, how many of you have it a lot more believable on what is possible now than 2 days ago, right? It's belief is first, David. Manifestation is the creation based on your belief. If you believe trauma is all you can have, you'll live in trauma. If you believe broken is all you have, you'll be broken. Right? It always comes back to the belief system, which is nothing more than your programming. If you're programming, now, can I guarantee that your next idea, next thing is the next best thing? No. You do your best, but then you learn from it and you move forward. I've changed a lot of things in the last 5 years. I learned some shit worked, some shit didn't work really well. I thought all of it would work when I did it until it didn't. Isn't that how it goes? And all of it you think will work until it doesn't work. And then you change. And the last one, humility, understanding that they may not do it on their own, right? Understanding that they may not do it on their own, that it's okay to ask for insight, to ask for help, ask for guidance, right? A lot of people just not asking a question, afraid to ask a question. Tell me on this one, if you were to be really open and honest this morning, what one do you struggle with most? What's the one you struggle with most? Because the one here you struggle with most is the one that you could focus on. That's your biggest struggle? Okay. Who else? What's the one? Expectation. Clarity. Yeah, so Gina, you have clarity and Stephen doesn't want to ask for help. We just got to say, let's get clear and let's ask for help more. Done. There you go. You guys are going to move way faster. Just solve those two things. You know, everybody wants to give you how fast you could solve things. They say, how long does it take to take on a new habit? What do they tell you about that? Type in the chat bar. Ben, do you know how long they say? Let me take this down a minute so I can see all of you. 21 days. Okay, to take on a new habit. So maybe to eat different and all this, 21 days. Okay. If the doctor told you if you eat any more dairy, you'll die, how long will it take you to take on a new habit? Tell me, how long will it take you? If they said you'll die if you drink one more sip of alcohol. So it doesn't take 21 days, does it? It takes a moment where you make a final decision. That's it. That's it. I made a decision. No more caffeine. So I don't drink any caffeine drinks. I never did coffee, but I used to do caffeine teas. 18 years now. Made a decision. No more gluten. 15, 18 years. I didn't have to practice it for 21 days because I knew it was killing me more instead of serving me more. Now I look, and you never know the results. I say, me and my wife laugh. Maybe, well, at least 30 something years ago, probably maybe even 35 years ago, Our biggest food choice sometimes was Hamburger Helper. Anybody ever eat that shit? Hamburger Helper? I mean, I don't think anybody should eat that today. I'm not sure that's good for anybody. But, you know, and if it was a real rough night, you went in the grocery store and you came home with, what was this called? The Hungry Man? What was it called? The TV dinner? It had the little cherry pie in it. Amy, are you smiling because you had a Hamburger Helper lately or something? Right? It was the you know, whatever those meals were, and it got the little cherry pie in there. And I used to always get, I think it was called the Hungry Man. You guys know what it is, right? It was the turkey with the stuff in it, right? But I say to myself, shit, if I was still doing that, where would we be? Not wealthy, probably sick, probably sick. I'm not telling you how to eat. I'm just saying you don't need 21 days to make a decision to become wealthier. You just already decided or you didn't. And if you want to decide, just decide. And then every day, write the number down. What is the wealth number? The very believable wealth number. What is it? What is the believable wealth number? Okay, let's go back, and this one should be, well, go through your notes real quick, cycle through. We'll take a short break in 23 minutes, so hang in there. A very tiny one just for you to pee, but we'll go strong to 12:30 today. Okay, what I'd like you to do is scroll through your notes real quick, circle the biggest action item, the biggest thing right now that you came across that it hits you. You're like, yeah. See, Danny, and I think, Danny, you're the only, oh, I think McKenna was on too. I got to try scrolling and seeing if you guys are on. Those of you in agencies, see, the reason why people have a problem when they're not getting enough leads is not because they don't get enough leads, Danny. It's because they don't understand abundance. I spend a lot of money on marketing and don't get instant gratification leads. But I'm in the long game, not the baby's game. I'm in the long game. When you're in the long game, anybody, like, and I'll talk to the agency owners here, you're never guaranteeing abundance of leads today. What you're guaranteeing is you'll win more long-term than you will short-term. Now, people, and I'll talk about this because I see Danny on my screen, people that leave agencies and go from one to the next, well, it's not always the agency fault. It's they suck at leadership themselves a lot of times. It could be the agency sometimes. But the other thing is they're not in the long game. It's a vehicle. Some are long game. They call it long tail and short tail, right? Some are long tail, some are short tail. If it's long tail, impressions add to results over time. Awareness adds to results over time. And you don't know at the moment that everyone else jumped, pulled out all their fishing poles, and there's still a pond of fish. There might be less fish, but there's less fishermen. And when that happens, bam, you go through the roof. All your planning during slow times, see, if you're trying to plan through slow times how to solve it when you're in it, you're late. You miss the trend. If you're planning for slow times, you plan right before it. And then when you're in it, you're planning for the opportunity of scaling when you come out of that dip or whoop, whatever you want to call it. And then it goes fast, which is right now, right? Shouldn't we be focusing on that? When everyone else is confused and running away, where should you run? Double down. We're doubling down on our marketing. We'll own 2026. You know why, Danny? I've already agreed that I own it. I already agree I own it. And I'm willing to invest and own it. What somebody told me when I was wiring TGI Fridays, and this one owner owned TGI Fridays and Wendy's. And I wired, I don't know, 6 or 7 Wendy's restaurants and a couple TGI Fridays. And I said to him, ready? I'm going to give you a big lesson for all of you. It's a wealth lesson. Apply it in many ways. I said to him, would you tell me your theory? Like, how did you pick here? I said to him. Remember, curious? You know what he said to me, Joe? He says, we surveyed the area and we did intelligence and we knew there was a need. And they already told us. See, I watch people go and move to other markets with their business with no intelligence. They did no study. They didn't ask anybody at all. They didn't go to the market and say, do you need another HVAC guy? They did nothing. They just said, there's people there, I should go there. Well, guess what? Try to go to a market where everybody already knows these certain companies' names. You'll bleed yourself out by the time you win. So first he said, we do intelligence and we already know people want Wendy's because they already got McDonald's and Burger King and they're looking for different. I said, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. How much will it cost to put this restaurant in? He said to me, wrong question, Mike. Wrong question. Oh, I said, really? Now I'm asking him this question. I'm in a green gold medal shirt, Carhartt pants, a tool belt on, work boots with probably PVC glue on my hand. He said, wrong question, Mike. The question you want to be asking me is how fast will we get a return? I said, okay, I'm asking you that. He said, less than 5 years. Less than 5 years. I said, but how much does it cost to put this in? He goes, look, it doesn't matter. We'll put 100 million in it. It doesn't matter. The return in 5 years becomes ultra profitability. And then I said, but how long do you keep it? He said, until I'm tired making money for nothing. Huh. I said, holy shit. Holy shit. Look at that. Look at that. All the wisdom in the world. Now, I wish I could have told you I knew how to leverage it enough. It took me years later to leverage it, but I did eventually figure out how to leverage it. Before you go into industry, before you go into a market, you got to do tactical and strategic intelligence first. Number two, is there a demand? If you go to the desert and there's no restaurants and nothing, and there's population of people, there's probably a demand for water. In a lot of the world there is. So if you go there with water, water's a very valuable commodity, right? So if you just ask yourself, what do my people want? I was listening to one of my mentors talk this morning. I tried to sneak in these 3 minutes of learning while the dog's taking a crap outside. And in 3 minutes, he was talking about how great it is not to sell anybody, but just to let them to show up and buy. Think of that, Danny. Get to the point you don't have to sell anybody anything. They just show up and buy. That means you educated the market so well that people just say, yeah, I would like your help. I would like you to be the one. And you just say, okay, is the only thing you need is the agreement, the price? Is that all you need? That's all I need. I mean, the majority of my last couple of years, for me personally, that's been a lot of my stuff. People just show up and I go, what do you need from me? You don't have to sell me nothing. What's the agreement? Here's the agreement. They go, okay. And then they end up on Wealth Power. And sometimes they don't even know how fast they'll move until they do a call. They're here on Wealth Power and then they go, oh shit. You know what I mean? That was everything. Okay. What did you circle? What was the one? Because I want to go into page 38 in a minute.